Welcome to Hannah's Royal History. I'm Hannah, and today, in the spirit of Halloween, I'm taking you to one of the most haunted locations in all of England, Hampton Court Palace. This historical site has seen centuries of drama, treachery and death, leaving it steeped in ghostly legends. So grab a blanket, turn off the lights and prepare yourself for chilling tales from the haunted halls of Hampton Court. Hampton Court Palace, located on the banks of the River Thames, has been a royal residence for over 500 years. Its history is rich with tales of power, betrayal and tragedy. But tonight we're focusing on the darker side of history. The ghosts who are said to still walk its halls. There are still stories today that at least two of Henry VIII's queens haunt Hampton Court Palace. His cherished third wife, Jane Seymour, who died after childbirth in 1537, and most famously, his fifth wife, Katherine Howard, who was executed for adultery in 1542. Let's start with one of the most famous spirits to haunt Hampton Court, and perhaps one of the most tragic and regular sightings at the palace. Katherine Howard, the fifth wife of King Henry VIII. Katherine Howard was just a teenager when she caught the eye of the aging King Henry. Known for her beauty and charm, she quickly became his queen, but her youth and inexperience led to her downfall. Accused of adultery, Katherine was arrested and confined to her quarters at Hampton Court. Legend has it that on the night before her arrest, Katherine managed to escape her guards and ran down what is now known as the Haunted Gallery, screaming for mercy from the king. She never reached the king, who was at prayer in the chapel. The guards caught her and dragged her back to her rooms. Katherine and Henry never saw each other again. She was later executed at the Tower of London in 1542. But her spirit never left Hampton Court. Many visitors to the palace have reported hearing her desperate cries echoing through the haunted gallery, and some have even claimed to see her ghostly figure running down the corridor, still pleading for her life. The haunted gallery isn't the only part of Hampton Court where visitors have encountered strange phenomena. Next, we move on to Clock Court, where the ghost of another tragic queen is said to roam. Jane Seymour. Jane Seymour was Henry VIII's third wife and the only one to give him the male heir he so desperately desired. However, her victory was short-lived. Jane died just days after giving birth to Prince Edward, likely from complications related to the childbirth. Jane's ghost is often seen in the Clock Court near the room where she gave birth and later passed away. A sorrowful white spectre holding a lit taper is believed to be Jane Seymour, Henry VIII's third wife. A ghostly figure is said to appear on the silver stick stairs which once led to the room where Jane gave birth and died, walking silently, carrying a lit taper and disappearing into the shadows. It's said that she appears on the anniversary of Prince Edward's birth. The White Lady, as she's often called, is one of the most frequently reported apparitions at Hampton Court. But Jane Seymour and Katherine Howard are not the only spirits tied to the palace's history. Next, we'll explore the story of the mysterious Skeletor ghost. In October 2003, Hampton Court Palace made headlines when CCTV footage captured what many believe to be a ghostly figure, apparently flinging open one of the fire doors. The figure, dressed in a long cloak, initially it was thought to be someone dressed up as King Henry VIII and was part of the reenactment staff, but it has now become known as Skeletor for its skeletal appearance. What makes this footage so compelling is that it's not just a case of a blurry figure or an orb of light. The door in question had been closed and locked moments before, and there was no sign of anyone else in the area. Yet the figure appears, opens the door, and then vanishes into thin air. In fact, the door flew open 3 days in a row, but the ghost didn't make its appearance until the second day. Vicky Wood, a spokeswoman for Hampton Court at the time, said, "We're baffled too. It's not a joke. We haven't manufactured it. We genuinely don't know who it is or what it is." James Fawkes, one of the palace's security guards, said, "It was incredibly spooky because the face just didn't look human." He went on to say, "My first reaction was that someone was having a laugh, so I asked my colleagues to take a look. We spoke to our costumed guides, but they don't own a costume like that, worn by the figure. It is actually quite unnerving." Skeletor's identity remains a mystery. No one has ever come forward to admit that this was a prank, and security staff remain baffled. But his appearance has been added to the palace's reputation as one of the most haunted places in the world. Had this happened now with TikTok, this certainly would have gone viral. But social media was in its infancy, and so it only gained the attention of traditional media. But Skeletor isn't the only unexplained figure to be caught on camera at Hampton Court. There's also the tale of the Grey Lady. The Grey Lady is believed to be the ghost of Sybil Penn. Sybil had served 4 Tudor monarchs and was a wet nurse to King Edward VI, son of Jane Seymour. When Queen Elizabeth I caught smallpox in 1562, Sybil nursed the Queen throughout. Elizabeth recovered, but Sybil unfortunately caught the pox and died. Sybil was a devoted servant, and after her death in 1562, she was buried at Hampton Church. For centuries, her spirit remained quiet, until 1892, when her tomb was disturbed during renovations of the church. Soon after, reports of a grey-clad figure began to emerge. Sybil's ghost was seen walking through the corridors, particularly around the state apartments and clock court. Sybil is linked to the noise of a spinning wheel that is said to come from behind a wall in a Grace and Favour apartment, and that apparently when that wall was removed, an old, worn and torn spinning wheel was discovered. In 1871, during a routine excavation beneath a cloister in Fountain Court, 2 male skeletons were discovered in shallow graves. This finding brought immense relief to an elderly woman living in a nearby Grace and Favour apartment at the palace. She had long complained of incessant banging and knocking on her walls, but no one had taken her seriously. After the remains were properly reinterred, the disturbances stopped completely. She said in 1871, "That stupid Board of Works has at last found the 2 wretched men who have been haunting me for years." And this cracks me up because I feel like that's such an elderly Victorian woman thing to say, even down to the language that's used. Those wretched men. It has been speculated that these unidentified men were victims of the Roundhead violence during the Civil Wars, so 1642 to 1651. They may have been hastily buried in unmarked graves, which were later concealed when Sir Christopher Wren constructed the Baroque part of the palace in 1689. The ghost of Amberin is one of the most famous apparitions just in general. Her ghost seems to haunt everywhere: Blickling Hall, Hever Castle, Tower of London, Hampton Court. Now I will say with this one, I've only seen one source that has actually claimed Anne to haunt Hampton Court. Even on the Hampton Court Palace website, they don't claim that her ghost is here. I don't think her ghost is there. She can't be everywhere, but I'm just going to include it because you can't prove ghost stories, so why not? Let's just throw another wife into the mix, shall we? Legend has it that Anne's spirit lingers in the halls where she once walked as Queen of England. Sightings of her ghost are often described as eerie and unsettling, with witnesses reporting a spectral figure wearing a blue or black dress. Some accounts claim to have seen her walking around headless during these manifestations. Anne's ghost is believed to be a restless spirit, forever tied to the palace where her fortunes rose and fell so dramatically, a poignant reminder of her tragic fate. Hampton Court Palace is a place where history and the supernatural seem to intersect at every turn. Whether you believe in ghosts or not, there's no denying the atmosphere here is heavy with the past, with the memories of those who lived, loved, and died within these walls. This Halloween, as you celebrate with your friends and family, perhaps you'll spare a thought for the spirits who are said to still walk the halls of Hampton Court. Are they truly trapped here, bound by the events of their lives? Or are they simply echoes of a time long gone, lingering in a place that refuses to forget them? Thank you for joining me on this spine-chilling journey through Hampton Court Palace. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you never miss any of my future uploads. And if you've ever had a ghostly experience of your own, please share it with me in the comment section below. I'd love to hear your story, and as always, have a wonderful day. Bye.